So we see this in this physical reality, that when we are in the hell state, when we're unhappy, that forces us to direct our energies in the spiritual direction. Also, this interesting movie that's out, I Will Meet You in Paradise or something like that. What's it called? With Robin Williams. It shows a similar situation. Remember, it's a movie and they're trying to make these things seem like this. But his wife, who commits suicide, creates hell conditions. And he tries, as a soul, to go and take her out of these hell conditions. He tries to awaken her to the truth. This is the whole story, how she's going to get her out of the hell that she has created from committing suicide. So it's an interesting movie. Let's see what Seth says about suicides. Suicides, as a class, for example, do not have any particular punishment meted out to them, nor is their condition any worse than the others. They are treated as individuals. Any problems that were not faced in this life will, however, be faced in another one. This applies not only to suicides, however. A suicide may bring about his own death because he rejects his existence on any but highly specific terms chosen by himself. If this is the case, then of course he will have to learn differently, because we don't solve anything. When someone says to me, I'm thinking about suicide, I say to him, it's your right, but anything that you are trying to avoid, you will just meet again in the next life. And not only that, you will be adding to that the fact that you have created pain for many people around you. And there will be this new added karma. So you're not going to get away from anything. Whatever is unacceptable to you, you will have right in front of you when you come back. There's a very interesting poem by Jalaluddin Rumi, a Sufi. I died as mineral and became plant. I died as plant and rose to animal. I died as animal and was man. Why should I fear? When was I less by dying? Yet once more I shall die as man, to soar with angels blessed. But even from angelhood I must pass on. All except God doth perish. When I have sacrificed my angel soul, I shall become what no mind ever conceived. Oh, let me not exist, for non-existence proclaims in organ tones, to him we shall return. This one poem has all of the philosophy we have discussed this year. First of all, from mineral to plant, from plant to animal, from animal to human, and then to angel. And then he says, I cannot unite with God as long as I have individual existence. And so my non-existence as an individual is my unity with the divine. Now let's hear a few more reasons why people chose to come into incarnation. This is again from Helen Wambach's Hypnosis. Yes, I chose to be born, and I was helped in this choice by a council of souls. My feelings about the prospects of living the coming lifetime came through that I knew my parents needed me because they had lost a 15-month-old girl in a fire, so I felt eager to come to them. Another case. Yes, I chose to be born, but with reluctance. There seemed to be friends around me, and as I chose, saying, oh, come on, it will be good for you. My feelings about the prospect of living the coming lifetime were that there was lots of work ahead, especially work on my relationship with my mother. So you see, the soul comes for specific work. No, I didn't choose to be born. There was someone insisting that it was time to return. I felt very reluctant to live another lifetime because it was very pleasant on the cloud. But a voice was insisting that I needed additional experience. No, I didn't choose to be born. I had the feeling that something or someone controlled my birth, but I couldn't understand any more about it. I didn't want to go through another lifetime again, but I felt like I needed to learn to love. I felt like it was a recurring lesson that I had to come back again and again and again. No, I didn't choose to be born. It seems as though I tried to make more decisions and to be ready to teach or guide, but I needed help myself. When you asked if anyone helped me to choose, I became aware that there were two helpers who were quite determined that I come back and make more decisions and be ready to teach or guide in a time of stress to come. My feelings about the prospect of living a lifetime were that I didn't want to fulfill the duties of earth life. I liked being taught on another plane, and I wanted to avoid contact with other earthlings. And one last one. I was very resistant to the idea of choosing to be born, but I know I had to make the decision myself. My feelings about the prospect of living another lifetime were that it was really a drag. This surprises me because I love living so much. So this is an important one. This is not a projection of this person's unhappiness. This person is a happy person and loves living and was very surprised to see that before coming that he or she didn't want to. So let's just turn this over. Apodexia. Okay, so let's listen to the results of Helen Wambach's study. Of the 750 subjects, 81% chose to be born. 19% were unaware of any choice or had no clear answer. 59% felt the help of counselors. 26% felt enthusiastic about being born. 68% felt negative about being born. 64% felt that they chose their sex, to be male or female. But not one of the 750 people felt that their true self was male or female. They had no gender as souls, but they chose specific gender upon incarnating. 87% knew people who were in this life in past lives. So they recognized people in this life as persons they were with in previous lives, 87%. 89% experienced separateness from the fetus, from the embryo, until the 6th month. Some experienced from the beginning. Some experienced upon birth. But 89% experienced separateness until the 6th month. 86% experienced the emotions of the mother before being born. And 90% found the death experience to be pleasant. And so what's the next step of this circle of life, as I call it? Birth. We started out with leaving the body, discovering our new body, going through the examination, meeting the beings of light or relatives, going through the examination, existing in a level of consciousness or in a reality dependent on the quality of our thoughts, of our causal body, and then, according to some groups, we just stay there and wait for the judgment day, and according to other groups, we decide on the new incarnation. So let's see what these people described in Helen Wambach's study about the about the birth experience. The birth canal experience for me was a slow torture. I had the feeling of being crushed. There was not enough room. There was pain and pressure. After I was born, I felt cold and there was too much light. There was pain, especially in my head and face. I was aware of other people's feelings. My mother had a feeling of relief from pain, but also some disgust. There was indifference on the part of all the hospital attendants, except for one warm-hearted nurse. Another case. In the birth canal, I was just next to the body. But when I was in it and then out of it, I could observe. After I was born, I felt wet, and I know I had a bloody forehead that was bruised. I was slow to realize that my head hurt. I was aware that someone in the room said I looked funny, but that somehow bothered me and would stay with me, even though I also heard them say I would be okay later. So these messages that the child gets even in the womb, but even on birth, remain in the subconscious for all the life unless one works on it. The birth canal experience for me, wasn't smooth, but in jerks, surrounded by softness. It was almost unyielding, though. I remember the tremendous bursting desire to breathe and feel my limbs free, to stretch. After I was born, the first breath seemed to be burning and almost painful, and I was coughing and choking. Before being washed, my skin was burning and painfully being tightened by the drying amniotic fluid and itching. Unfortunately, I was scrubbed by some idiot with a horribly scratchy sponge. It was very cold in the delivery room. Everyone was quite aware of my mother's feeling about the birth. I kept hearing her say, "I don't want it, I don't want it." So this message will remain in that subconscious, unless, of course, she goes through some kind of catharsis and self-knowledge. When you asked about the birth canal, I felt very angry. I wanted to get out, and my mother doesn't want me to get out. I am kicking, fighting, screaming. After birth, I have relief, but I'm still upset. My thought was, so that's the place I wanted to get to so much. I was aware of other people's feelings after my birth. My grandmother was very nasty. I thought it was a snotty nurse, and then I realized it was my grandmother. So we can see that we've got it upside down. We're so happy when someone gets born, and we're so sad when they die, when the reality of the situation is exactly the opposite. We should be very happy for the souls that are getting free from the body limitation. And okay, we don't have to be sad about the souls coming into that limitation, but we should be accepting of both processes. I mean, birth is really the limitation of the soul. The soul doesn't want this. It's painful. Whereas death is a freedom. This doesn't mean that we should go out and commit suicide or help somebody die. It just means that we should be accepting and relaxed about both situations. We need to be born. We need to leave the physical body. It's a very natural process. We are evolving in this way. Now, we will talk about how we can help loved ones in this death process and how we can handle the death of loved ones next week. Now we will stop here. This is our second class. We have completed the description of what happens after death, completing the cycle with birth, if you believe in reincarnation, or else we're just waiting there for the day of judgment and see what's going to happen to us.